The other aspect of combating Donald Trump's agenda and Project 2025 is going to have to, unfortunately, we're going to rely upon the efforts of advocacy organizations and ethics watchdogs like Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington. This is a group right here in Washington, D.C. that does amazing work to hold politicians and people in government accountable when they step out of line and they act unethically. And that's just what they're doing here. And this is going to be the first test of one of the IGs that remain after Donald Trump fired more than a dozen of them in a late Friday night thing, hoping that the media would not, that the news cycle would end and no one would talk about it anymore. Fortunately, there are people in independent media like David, like myself, like Brittany Page, like Farron Cousins, like so many others who will talk about these things, who won't let a Friday night story die. We're going to keep talking about it on Monday. This is why independent media is important. This is also why groups like Crew and other advocacy groups are also important. They have written a letter to Horowitz, the Department of Justice IG, asking him to look into, to investigate the deletion of January 6 databases that they say breaks the law. Here's their headline on their website. Deletion of January 6 charges database appears to violate the law. The Department of Justice's removal of a database detailing criminal charges and convictions related to the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol from its website appears to be illegal. Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington sent a letter to the Archivist of the United States and the Inspector General of the Department of Justice urging them to take action and investigate the likely violation of federal law. On January 20th, 2025, President Trump pardoned more than 1,500 people charged for crimes related to their conduct in and around the January 6th attack of the United States Capitol, including many who violently assaulted police officers. Following the pardons, the DOJ removed a database that included information on all related cases prosecuted by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia. Deleting the database appears to violate 44 U.S. Code subsection 3106, which requires that agencies notify the archivist upon the removal or deletion of federal records. There is no indication that the DOJ reported the deletion to the National Archives and Records Administration. This is problematic for a number of different reasons. One, and less important, is the fact that Donald Trump's DOJ, Department of Justice, the law enforcement arm of the executive branch of the government, isn't aware or is more likely skirting the law, ignoring the law, breaking the law, violating federal law relative to records retention. That's a problem. The other element of this is that Donald Trump is attempting to rewrite history. He believes that if he makes an executive order that says Biden's to blame for the plane crash, it makes it so. It changes history. He also believes that if they delete the records of the database, Americans will forget and it'll be easier to rewrite history of the attempt to overthrow the United States government, their failed coup attempt, their violent insurrection against the Capitol, their attempt to overthrow the government by way of overturning a free and fair settled American election. It's a problem. The DOJ's removal of this database is squarely in line with President Trump's ongoing efforts to rewrite or erase the insurrection and likely violates federal law. Crew urges NARA and the DOJ IG to investigate and take appropriate action, including instructing the agency to issue a report in accordance with federal requirements. Here, I'll just throw the 3 pages up on the screen for you to pause and peruse if you'd like. But this will be the first test of whether Donald Trump's attempt to silence IGs, to strike fear into the IGs that remain, that they might lose their jobs. We're going to see if Horowitz has the mettle. We're going to see if the archivist pushes this issue. This is criminal. Donald Trump is engaging in criminal activity at the behest of the January 6th insurrectionists, to cover for them and to cover for his portion of the crime as well. Hey, thanks for joining me. My name is Jesse Dollemore. I host the Dollemore Daily right here on YouTube. You can subscribe to my channel. That would be fantastic and glorious, and a bunch of other descriptors that I can't think of right now. If David Pakman ever asks you to guest host his show, make sure you're not sick when you end up having to do it. Anyway, I appreciate you very much.
Well, I wrote a book after a long journey and a ton of work. I am really thrilled with how it turned out, and I hope you'll read it. The book is called The Echo Machine, and in a nutshell, it looks at how American politics got so broken, who has already figured out solutions, and how we can try to fix it and stop the terror of Trump for the next 4 years. With Trump winning this election, the Echo Machine couldn't be more relevant, not only a warning about how we got here, but also about what might be coming and how to prevent the worst outcomes. We've got to stay engaged. We need a plan, and that's what the book is about. There's a belief out there that unless you have corporate media behind you, you can't have a successful political book launch, that it's not possible. I think we can prove that wrong. Order The Echo Machine today at davidpakman.com/echo on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Audible, Kindle, anywhere that books, ebooks, and audiobooks are sold. You can also call any local bookstore and say, please order me The Echo Machine by David Pakman. Wherever you get the book, you'll get the free pre-order perks, including the signed book plate. Head to davidpakman.com/free book stuff after ordering.